So speaking of doing things for the right reason, everyone thinks that they're right, for one thing, especially and ones who do things that we all consider bad also. I think that it's hard to know what's right and what's not right, but I think that the best way you can figure out from your own self is by judging it from your heart.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
Because you feel something, and that feeling can guide you.
I absolutely agree. And I think I would say that everyone also know when they're wrong.
Deep down.
Deep down,
Yeah.
in their heart, the
Yeah.
very place that you said.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even the most evil humans who have ever existed knew deep down they were evil.
Yeah.
They never portrayed it, they didn't show it, because knowing what's wrong is part of our genes. You know, you can't change nature. Mm-hmm. This is us, this is who we are. Even the animals that are not as probably evolved from an intellectual standpoint know the right and wrong. They know that. Now, if you have a more intellectual capacity, you learn it more and you kind of get more evolved. But the bottom line is everybody knows when it's wrong. And the key is...
I need to clarify.
Sure.
You already said deep down, and I just want to say that there's so many layers on top that though you may feel it somewhere, how that actually translates in real life, that's another story. There's a total other story. It's very difficult to undo those layers of thinking and defensiveness and self-preservation and so forth.
Yes, absolutely. You said it. I mean, because what happens is what's in the heart, by the time it comes to the outside, there are many filters and so forth. And unfortunately, that's what translates into evil, right? But the issue is, but that also tells you that every human has the capacity to be good. And I think that the way to break down those levels, even in the most evil, is to break them down one by one with the final goal of uncovering the good in their heart. Mm-hmm. And that is fantastic. And you know, for the person who's trying to do that, it's also fulfilling and liberating and brings so much happiness.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a simple thing. I'm amazed when there's somebody who's panhandling. You know, you go to the intersection and the guy has a sign, he's coming to get some money. The person who says, he's just going to use that to go buy X, Y, and Z, or support a drug habit, whatever. You know, so many things are said, right? Mm-hmm. I think that person actually loses out in this whole thing.
The person who decides not to give?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You don't have to give, but you shouldn't do all of that.
Right.
But a person who says, you know, it takes a lot. Whatever the reason is, here's a person in the heat, in the afternoon sun, panhandling, taking his pride, putting it behind him, all of those things that it takes to do that. Mm-hmm. If I take $1 and hand it to him, I am reaching into his heart and seeing the good in him, no matter why this is happening. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, your heart lights up. And that is humanity. So whether it is with that, whether it is with anything else in life, whether it's at your job. So imagine if everybody really thought about this actively. And every day that they went into work, they say, you know, I'm going to make this a better experience for the person who sits across from me. Whether it's in a bank, whether it's in a physician's office, whether it's an operating room, whatever. You wouldn't want to leave your job because you're so happy, because that's what we need. Now, unfortunately, if you just go for acceptance without that, now you're setting yourself up for a downward spiral.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the homeless person example. And I believe in figuring out what's the best way to help them. I went to India, and when you go to India, in certain cities, there's so many homeless people. If you can't give, you can't give to everybody.
Yeah.
And it is true that at certain points, like they've carved out like where they're going to be, and they do have habits and so forth. And and it could incentivize them not to get employment, and they're pimping rings in which certain people pimp out kids and so forth to get money. And that makes the situation more complex.
Yes.
It makes it much. I'm all about generosity and so forth and reaching into people's hearts, but these situations on earth are much more complex than that. So that's why it's hard to know what to do, and sometimes operating from the heart hurts.
Yes.
It can hurt the situation.
Yes. No, I think you're absolutely right. Now, these are similar but different concepts. The issue is, I think that in a situation where a one-on-one doesn't work because it's such a large-scale problem, you still have to reach into your own heart. You still have to say, how do I give? It may not be that I give $1 to the hundreds of thousands of people who are panhandling. It's impossible, I understand. But how do I give to these people? How do I show that kindness? Because again, it is a selfish thing. This is not altruistic. This is not that you're being a benevolent human being, because you're getting a lot out of that experience. So how do I do that? So either you can do it individually, or you do it on a larger scale to the best that you can. Understanding that there's only so much you can do. You know, we have this, as humans, we have this odd concept that we are more important than we really are. You know, I am one of billions of people on this earth. Whether I'm here today and not here today makes no difference. That's liberating. Say, okay, I'm going to do my best. That's the best I can do. But I'm coming from a good place. Instead of saying, I'm going to do my best, which means I don't do anything, but I come from a bad place. You see? I think that's the difference. The person who says, I can't help this because there are so many people, what can I do? That person loses in that equation. The person who says, you know, I really want to help.
Because it feels good.
Because it feels good.
And I think that you end up getting into more levels of personal strength by reaching into your own self in order to give, and strength is very important.
Yep.
You mentioned in our previous interview the best way to serve humanity is to make yourself the best fighting machine that you can, so that you can do what you do. You talked about just a few minutes ago loving your job, right? So if you reach into your own self and it hurts a little bit, but you develop strength from it and you develop love from it, that speaks to the two most important things that will help you feel good, feel strong, and feel loving, are two of the greatest things to feel, and to actually really help in whatever you're doing.
Yes. You asked me about medicine, surgery earlier, about some of the greatest things and so forth. And I don't know if I can talk about those, but the thing is, I can tell you the secret that I have found in 20-some years of doing surgery is that the person who sits across from me and wants me to do whatever it is that I do to help them in medicine deserves my expertise. They don't deserve my love. They don't want my love. They are coming to me to do a certain job, and to do it the best possible way, and to do it for them as if I was doing it for me. That's what they want. And if you delude yourself into thinking, you know, I really love my patients, but I'm going to do a halfway surgery, no good. That doesn't work. So your patients, and we have discussed this before, they're very important, but if you are a good surgeon, that's what they want more than you holding their hand and loving them, because they can get that love other places. Now, if you're a good surgeon and loving, fantastic. But the direction has to be the correct direction. And so that's an important issue, no matter what it is you do. No matter what it is you do. And I'm amazed that we spend so much time, all of us as humans, excusing ourselves, explaining ourselves, talking about things, as opposed to doing the right thing in the first place.
Instead of making the wrong choice, not from the heart, and then spending a lot of time defending it, thinking of clever ways to cover it up and so forth. Yeah.
Yes.
And this speaks to a deeper truth. I think it was George Washington, and who knows if he actually said this, but let's assume he did, that honesty is the best policy.